send me some sorry lines.
Hi everybody. Today we're going to talk about magnets, and specifically making a magnetic clasp using polymer clay. And there's been a lot of talk lately about magnetic jewelry, and it's supposed to be beneficial for the body, but we think it's fun because you can get rare earth magnets and they're very tiny. You can put them inside the clay and bake it.
And they're strong.
Yeah.
They're very strong.
Very strong.
Yeah. So let's get started.
I am going to show you how to enclose magnets, tiny ones like this, made of rare earth, in a clasp for a necklace. This clasp is magnetic, and I did it all in one fell swoop in one baking, and Elisa is going to show you an alternate method after I'm done of how to do it in 2 bakings. So what I did is I start with a piece of clay about the thickness of my finger, and 3 fingers wide is how big this is. I think I will get smaller as I go, but since I just started doing this, my piece is pretty big because I need room to work. So I'm going to cut this piece of clay in half, just eyeballing it to try and get it symmetrical to the same size. Now the trick with this is these magnets are extremely strong. So the first thing that I did is I took a permanent marker and I marked the outside of this set of magnets so that I know which end repels and which end is going to attract. Then I had a really hard time getting 2 little magnets apart, so I used my blade and I cut right down the middle of them.
Right, and then they stick to the
Then
blade.
they stick to the blade.
These are a little tricky, so you have to just play with them and feel it out.
Right. Okay, so now I have a magnet on each side of my blade. And I'm going to hold on to one while I peel the other one off. Okay. And set them really far apart on your work surface, because otherwise they will come flying at you and stick to each other, and that's really disorienting when you're trying to work. Set your blade far away. So now I know the black mark I made on it is on the outside, so I'm going to push that side into the piece of clay first. And I'm just going to shove it in there. The clay is going to distort. That's okay. But I'm shoving it down in there, and then I'm going to come back and pinch it in with my fingers, and then I'm going to start working it on my surface, and I'm going to pull this back down so that the bottom edge is flat, because that's the side that I want to stick to the other side, and then just roll out my fingerprints, get my skewer, and poke a hole from this side. Poke a hole back through from that side. I make my hole a little big because I'm going to string this on some ribbon later. Roll out my fingerprints again and set this up like that. I would put it on the baking pan at this point, or onto a piece of paper, which is what I baked it on the first time. And it actually did stick right to the baking pan because it's metal. So just set that aside on your work surface that you're going to bake on, and then do the other side. Push this side with the black mark into the clay so it comes up around it. Pinch it in. Roll it on your work surface to shut the hole, and then pinch it back into shape by pressing the clay down onto the surface to make a nice flat edge so that your clasp is going to stick to itself on the flat side. Pretty easy for me to do it this way. Not everyone's going to have the same luck, so just give it a try and see which method you might have to use. Elisa's going to show you the other way.
My magnetic clasp, and it's already been fired. Basically, what I was trying to achieve is something that went with these beads. I didn't want to just throw some random clasp, in there. I wanted to make it look like it belonged together. So this has already been fired. The magnets are in there for you to see. Now what I wanted to do is do this in two bakings because I want to cover the magnet. So what I did was I pushed the magnet in like Kira showed you, and now I'm going to show you how I'm going to cover them. So let me just move these aside. I want to start with now these are very strong, so they're going to just latch right on. So set them aside. What you want to do is you want to condition your clay, and this is a setting 4 on the POS machine. So I'm going to start with 1, and I'm just going to set it on there. Now you can do it like this, or you can actually, let me pick this up, you can actually tear around it. As you saw, it started to adhere to my blade. You can just tear around it, and that seemed to be the easiest way to work. You can use your blade to help out, and it's actually much easier to do this for me. For me, it was much easier to do this after the clay had been fired, because I kept messing it up, and the thing that happened with me is I wanted to make sure that my magnets were the right side was in the clay and the right side was facing out, and dingy me didn't think to mark them. So this is the way I ended up doing it, was, you know, to make them, fire it, and then add this other little sliver on, and then you can just, yeah, to me, I thought I had more control to do it this way. So, you know, you just have to decide which works best for you, you know. You can do it all in one fell swoop, and marking it's a good idea. And then I just clean it up and make it how I want. So now that you have your clasp done, you would cover the other side as well, and then bake that again. So we're going to show you how you can make these same beads in Polymer Clay Classroom, and how to make this set of beads as well, so you'll be able to make a few things with it and with the same technique. So come on back to polymerclayclassroom.com, and we'd love to see you there.
We are at the booth of Karyn Kozak, and her business is called Karyn Kozak Design, and she does a lot of keen work. These are some earrings. Here's Karyn, who's going to tell us in a minute how she got started working with the clay.
Yeah, you probably know Karyn from her teapots.
Yep, here they are.
Yeah. She's done a lot of teapots over the years, right?
Yes, a lot. Yeah. Well, my history as an artist is first as a graphic designer, but then I was trained as a glass blower. So that's a vessel maker. So I came to polymer clay through the glass blowing, because Fiori, which is what I do, comes directly from glass. Mm-hmm. And so when I discovered this material back in about 1990, 89, 90, and tried it, I saw immediately a connection that could transfer from glass to this. Mm-hmm. So in polymer, I guess in polymer I'm self-taught, but in glass, in glass I did all the training I could want in Fiori.
Mm-hmm. Okay, very nice. Thank you, Karyn.
Yeah. And we'll have a link on the website so you can visit her website.
I'm a fan of her little beetles.
Very colorful.
Color bugs, I call them.
Color bugs.
Color
there
bugs.
You go. Thank you very much.
You send me some sorry lines, but passion undying, that the oceans can't subside.